Hello, welcome to the Daily English News program in Azərbaycan Televiziya with the most important events of the day. I'm Gülər Hədəmova. The rally on the Laçın-Xankəndi road against the illegal exploitation of mineral deposits in Qarabağ has been continuing for the 45th day despite the cold and frosty weather. The eco-activists and NGOs representatives are active and demonstrate will and perseverance. Free movement of humanitarian vehicles belonging to the Russian peacekeepers and International Red Cross Committee on the road where the rally takes place is ensured. It proves once again that the road is open for humanitarian purposes. The statement of the United Nations Population Fund regarding the situation around the Laçın road, which is biased, does not reflect the truth and is not related to the organization's mandate, is surprising and regrettable. The statement of Azerbaijan's Foreign Ministry says it's reported that it is unacceptable for the United Nations Population Fund, which did not comment on the plight of hundreds of thousands of Azerbaijanis who have been displaced from their homes for 30 years, lived for years in tent cities, abandoned train cars, camps, and environment with no health conditions, deprived of education, health care, and all other rights as a result of Armenia's military aggression against Azerbaijan, to issue a statement on the legitimate protest of Azerbaijanis. The people who present themselves as leaders of Armenian residents continue to use the local population as a shield and prevent their freedom of movement in order to continue their illegal activities, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs reported. If the Council of Europe had reacted in a timely and objective manner to the occupation of the territories of member states, there would have been no wars. This was stated by the members of the Azerbaijani delegation to QSC during the discussion of the report in connection with the proposals of the Assembly on the fourth summit of heads of state and government. It was noted that it's high time to think about the future of the Council of Europe, which, like all of Europe as a whole, is in a deep crisis. The crisis could have been avoided if the organization had reacted objectively and quickly a few years ago to the occupation of the territories of the member countries Azerbaijan, Georgia, Moldova and Ukraine. The members of the Azerbaijani delegation also added that the global political and financial forces had not adopted sanctions against Armenia on the basis of international law during those 30 years. In fact, there is a biased attitude to the violation of the territorial integrity of various independent countries. Such an attitude called into question the international order and also led to a vague understanding of common human values. Azerbaijan's Commissioner for Human Rights, Sabina Aliyeva, addressed an appeal to international organizations concerning the war crimes and ecocide committed by Armenia against Azerbaijan. The appeal notes that as a result of illegal exploitation and plunder of natural resources by Armenia in the territory of Azerbaijan, serious damage is inflicted on the environment. The peaceful protest action of public activists on the Laçın-Xankəndi road is aimed at preventing environmental crimes and does not interfere with the transportation of humanitarian goods. We believe that international organizations and ombudsman institutions functioning in foreign countries should join forces in order to restore violated human rights in the region, in order to force Armenia to comply with the norms and principles of international law. At the same time, the use of by people of Armenian dissonant public speeches and social networks full of hatred and anger expressions that encourage hostility should be strongly condemned. The Ombudsman's appeal to international organizations reads: a public hearing dedicated to February 2nd Youth Day will be held in Milli Məclis. This was announced at the meeting of the Youth and Sports Committee of the Milli Məclis. Chairman of the committee, Adil Aliyev, who presented the final report of last year, said that 206 draft laws were discussed in 2022. In the spring session of the Parliament, the MPs who proposed to organize a public hearing on the year, Heydar Aliyev said that a number of meetings are envisaged within this year. Information was also given on the reconstruction works carried out in the territories liberated from occupation. It was noted that the focus is on the construction of sports facilities in those territories. In general, 46.3 million manats were allocated from the state budget for the development of sports and physical education during the year. Funds from sports federation and sponsors are also channeled to this field. This year, loans in the amount of 500 million manats for entrepreneurs who will invest in the deliberated territories will be allocated. The maximum estimated subsidy value for this amount will be up to 150 million manats. This was stated during the press conference dedicated to the results of 2022 for the Entrepreneurship Development Fund.
3 projects were submitted to Entrepreneurship Development Fund for the implementation in Karabakh. These applications, which were received in 2022, covered industrial production, food industry and agriculture. This year, it's also envisaged to allocate concessional loans for businesses who want to engage in entrepreneurship in Karabakh. The loan portfolio for entrepreneurs who will invest into the territories liberated from occupation is planned at the level of 500 million manats, out of which 450 million manats will be covered by state guarantees.
The maximum amount of subsidy estimated for this amount will be up to 150 million manats. The payment of interest rates on subsidy will cover 3 years. The maximum amount of each loan will be up to 5 million manats. The maximum duration of that loan can be up to 7 years. The interest rate provided by the commercial bank will be 15% maximum. It is envisaged that 10 percentage points will be subsidized by the state during 3 years.
In 2022, the Entrepreneurship Development Fund allocated concessional loans in the amount of 145.9 million manats for the financing of 2,726 investment projects with an overall value of 399.4 million manats.
59.8% of the loans were allocated to the development of agriculture, 23.9% to the development of production and processing of industrial products, 6.5% to the development of tourism, 9.9% to the development of other fields, education, healthcare, and etc. 70.6% of the concessional loans fall on the share of the regions, 29.4% on the share of Baku and Absheron Peninsula. Last year, out of the allocated concessional loans, 99.9% were allocated to micro, small and medium businesses based on the number of projects and 98.3% based on the loan amount.
At the expense of these loans, more than 3,000 job places were opened last year. The payment of subsidies on the state-guaranteed loans allocated to entrepreneurs who suffered from pandemic continued. In general, as part of the support program, 41.4 million manats, including 26.1 million manats of the subsidies during 2022 were paid up to the 1st of January 2023.
That was all for today. Thank you for being with us. Goodbye.